Hello, family. I'm Robert, and I'm a real alcoholic. I want to welcome everyone to the Atlanta Stepper Society book study. Change your thinking, change your life. Let's open with a moment of silence, then the serenity prayer. Serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I want to go over a couple of things before we get started. Last week, I came down with a bad cold. And so at the last minute, I was debating on, should I do the meeting or should I not do it? And I woke up that morning, and I get my best thinking. Everything that comes to me in the morning in the shower. That's just me. That's my inspirational time. That's my quiet time with God. And Ron, my cousin Ron, came on my mind, and I called him and asked him, would he do the meeting? Without any hesitation, I don't even think his mind allowed him to resist or hold back from saying, I do it. And I want to thank you for that. You know, and to get up here in front of a lot of people is really hard to do because it's a book study. It's not an open discussion. You know what I'm saying? I tell you in the morning on the phone, he didn't hesitate, but I'm pretty sure throughout the day he was thinking about some stuff. You know, and I want to say that I apologize because I'm going to get you to do it again because I wanted to tape it, but I didn't have the key to the safe, and I didn't leave it here. But I want to tell people in Step Up, especially the people that work up here, we could have did it on a computer. You know how I used to do it on the computer? You sit in front of the computer, you could do the same thing. That's how I used to do it. Remember that, Steve? Remember that, anybody, whoever up here? Eddie, you can bring that little laptop out and shoot it. And I got some feedback from the people in Ireland. They love it. They still want to cite the meeting. They want to do that. So I got to figure out what time they be sleeping and what time they up in the meeting. I'm pretty sure it ain't the same time as ours. You know, so we're gonna do it though. That's my dharma. That's what God assigned me to do. I think Charlie wanted to say something to me, right? He had something. And then I want to talk about another thing. Just speak.
For your outstanding work in the recovery community, this is Leroy D. Award. That's Leroy Daniels, who started Club Escape and got shot after the meeting. So the man came with the season, give out an award to the people that do recovery in the community, and this one is for you.
Oh, thank you, man. For you guys who don't know, Leroy was a good friend of mine. In fact, when I first got clean and sober, I told y'all I have always, listen to this, I have always been in the steps. I do not know how to recover without the 12 steps. In 20 years, I started going to book study at 3 or 4 months clean, and I have never been out of a book study. So people ask me, you know, I don't know how to do it 3 or 4 years without the 12 steps. I never done it like that. I always been in the 12 steps. That makes sense? Leroy Daniel, when I was like, let's say a year clean, this man was a 12-stepper. He's dead now. Me and Billy C. on Sundays used to go over to his mother's house in Ellenwood. He took her garage behind the house and made a clubhouse. He went and bought like little chairs, like, you know, like studio chairs. He put up this big screen and everything. We were having book study on Sunday at his mother's house. That was pre-Club Escape. He had a clubhouse in his backyard. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, you see Club Escape, but didn't know where it came from. It came from his mama's garage that he built into a clubhouse. When he was planning Clubscape, remember Ken? He used to come in my office. Me, him, my wife Martha, and Ken. We was on the planning stage of Clubscape. You know, the foundation. We was in the foundation. So I have history with this, you know, and it's an honor. All right. The next thing I want to talk about right fast is that we're getting ready to go into our personal house cleaning. I don't know if you can see that, Aaron. When you look on the board, that's the spiritual path of recovery. Belief is step 2. Decision is step 3. The house cleaning steps are step 4 through 9. You have to clean house in order to recover. Step 10, you get results. Once you get the results you're supposed to get, in step 11, you know this thing worked. Then you're in faith. That makes sense? That's the spiritual path that we're on. For myself, when I did the 12 steps, and we all do it out the book, I'm going to pass out the paperwork and everything. When I did it, I felt the results and I knew it worked. So I just knew. I just knew that it worked because it was working in my life. I wasn't operating in all that much faith. I just knew it worked. When I took my first sponsee through it and I watched it work on him, like, wow, it really worked now because I seen it work on someone else. Then I took another person and did the same thing for him. Then another person. By the time I got to the third or fourth person, I was in faith that this program works. Rarely have we seen a person fail who totally follows our path. I honestly got to tell you, you're not going to be able to experience that. You're not going to witness that. Because you're not going to do this 12 steps and you ain't going to help no one else. So you're not going to know what I'm talking about. Unless you make a decision to do this 12 steps, get the rewards, and then teach someone else how to do it. And watch them get the rewards. That makes sense? That's what this thing is about. It's about carrying the message, not the mess. So once we start, you start your house cleaning steps, you're going to get results. Then you're going to be able to 12 step someone else. You already know how to read the book. Paragraph by paragraph, sentence by sentence. Grab you a newcomer, get a date and a time, bring them in to your house, meet them at Starbucks, I don't care. On the internet, whatever, telephone, text, I don't care how you do it. Paragraph by paragraph. That makes sense? Once we start on these steps, you're going to have your own sponsor. I am not your sponsor. But it's real easy to get a sponsor. All you got to do is look around this room. There's people in here that know how to do this stuff. That makes sense? All right, let's go to the book tonight. I'm just going to go quickly over some stuff because I heard the meeting was fantastic last week. So let's give everyone who was here a hand. I heard Ron did an excellent job. And I kind of knew that anyway, because he's my cousin. So yeah, if they say it's hereditary to get drunk, then it might be hereditary to recover. You know what I'm saying? I want to start on page 47. I'm just going to tap on some stuff, because I'm a little anxious to get to how it works. That makes sense? But I don't want to be too anxious that I'm playing God either. All right? So here we go on page 47. We're talking about we agnostics. Just someone who don't really know, probably needs some proof that there is a God. That makes sense? And I know myself, I searched for a lot of years. A lot of years. And we're going to talk about a little bit of that tonight. I want to go back to step 2, the paragraph on page 47 that is step 2. I'm going to read and then I'm going to break it down. We needed, y'all see that? We needed to ask ourselves but one short question. Do I now believe, or am I even willing to believe, that there is a power greater than myself? As soon as a man can say that he does believe or is willing to believe, we emphatically assure him that he is on his way. It has been repeatedly proven among us that upon this simple cornerstone, a wonderfully effective spiritual structure can be built. Then it had the asterisks. This is step 2. They just want you to believe or be willing to believe. You know, when I first came into recovery, I didn't even possess willingness. And I see this all the time. If you take in, like we have a recovery place, you know, treatment, and we get guys in, and I can take anybody in the morning time, this is 10 people up here, and we're talking about willingness, and we go back a year or 18 months prior or 4 months prior to coming in recovery. If you could just take your mind back 3 or 4 months prior to coming into recovery, and I will ask them, was anybody truly willing to work on someone's job a month or 2 before coming in here? You know you was get down. You was at your worst in life. Everybody would say, no, I wasn't really willing to work. I was too far gone. I was unemployable. So we didn't even possess willingness to work. Come into a program, detox, and 2 weeks after detox, all of a sudden I want to work. I want to go to work. But what did I do to get this willingness to want to work? Nothing. Even willingness was given to me from God. That makes sense? I didn't even possess that. Everything comes from God. Even willingness. I didn't even have that. That makes sense? As soon as a man can say he does believe or is willing to believe, you're on your way. Then we talked about spiritual experiences and spiritual awakenings. Most people have spiritual awakenings. An experience is when you kind of like, God comes in your life, changes your thinking, your feelings, your emotions, and your outlook in life instantly. Then you have what we call awakenings. That's what I am. I'm a product of awakenings. I have spiritual awakenings. Every so often, God will reveal himself to me in another way. That makes sense? All right. And it's done gradually. I have never been slain in the spirit, even though when I was in church, I pretended I was slain in the spirit. You know, I was faking it. And I knew I was faking it, but I had to perform or they're going to throw me out of there. Because I was in treatments that was church treatments. And you homeless and they need you need to be slain. Well, you kind of figured out real fast, it's about time to be slain. Or slanged out. Y'all laughing, but it's the truth. Rock bottom truth, right? All right, next paragraph. That was the great news for us, for we had assumed we could not make use of spiritual principles unless we accepted many things on faith which seemed difficult to believe. When people presented us with spiritual approaches, how frequently did we all say, I wish I had what that man has. I'm sure it would work if I could only believe as he believes. But I cannot accept as surely true the many articles of faith which are so plain to him. So it was comforting to learn that we could commence at a simpler level. Now, I told y'all when I first came in recovery and I found out that I can use my God and my own understanding, I kind of like threw out a lot of other people's gods and other people's way of getting God. Y'all told me God was on the inside and I needed just to have a power that was greater than myself. You don't have to call it God. Higher power, power greater than yourself, deity, or whatever you want to. That's your choice. Because the God that I understand today has no ego. He don't care what you call him. All right. So I just wanted a God to keep me clean and sober that day. But I had to go back to this paragraph. I remember that I had met a lot of people and I was in situations that I had to accept many things on faith, which seemed difficult. I remember being in the church, and I'm not knocking church, because I know church saved people's lives. I remember being in the church, and I was trying my best to accept what they had on, that they were doing on faith, like tithing. I would see, you know, and I usually would find one or two families that seem to be doing real well. And I'm a drug addict and an alcoholic. And I would see that family. And tithing was a big thing. And, you know, in the smaller churches, you got to tithe. And I knew for a fact that that was important in the church. And I had never had no more than $5 or $10 to my name in life. And you had to give 10%. So I got a $5 bill and I'm thinking about 50 cents, you know. Or I got a $10 bill, the same thing up in here though. A $10 bill and $1. But see, it wasn't the point that I didn't want to tithe. I was too embarrassed to drop a 10 in there and take out 9. You know, I'm a grown man. You know, 40 years old, 35 years old. I'm dropping a $5 bill and I can't let the 5 stay. I got to get back $4.50. You know? So it made me feel ashamed. I felt full of guilt. Now, y'all know what happened when an addict feel ashamed and full of guilt. We're going to have to change this feeling. You know, I got to get me one. You know? And, you know, and that was something I tried to accept. You know, spiritually, I couldn't get it. Then I see guys, they come in there, they have nice suits. You know, they have nice suits, and they with their families. I'm in the middle of a horrible divorce. Then I see family people come in there. That didn't make me feel good. They be talking about how to be loving fathers and stuff like that, and I abandoned my kids. You know, we're talking about low going in, and they making me feel lower. Then I would look at him, you know, he got on a nice suit. I said, man, that man got on a nice suit. It took everything I could to get up an ensemble to wear to church. I had to get my brother's pants. But go search around for a pair of shoes that were decent. Find a shirt. Don't have on no undershirt. You know, find a tie. None of this stuff is matching. Now go in there. There I go again. Boom, depressed. Prayer. I was praying, but nothing was changing. So what I'm saying is, assume we could not make use of spiritual principles unless we accepted many things on faith which seem difficult to believe. When people presented us with spiritual approaches, how frequently did we ask, I wish I had what that man had? That's all I was doing in church. Wishing I had what other people had. Because I didn't have nothing in life. That makes sense? But for me, it was still looking outside myself. Nobody told me to look inside of Robert to find none of this stuff. I'm still looking outward. That makes sense? Yeah. Things on the outside, what everybody else got dressed up on, what everybody else is putting into the thing, what everybody else is doing. I'm still searching for God on the outside. All right. Then y'all come in here, and it says, so it was confident to learn that we can commence at a simpler level. One thing I did like about the fellowship is that we counted clean time. See, when I got here and you was talking about a spiritual program, when I went to church, even though I was the bottom of the barrel, I didn't go in with newcomers, you know, because I didn't consider myself a newcomer. My ego was so big, I wanted to hang out with the pastor. You know, I wanted to be with the deacon. But it never dawned on me that they started from the bottom and worked their way up. I wanted to go right to the top. You know how we think. You know, I see a guy, you know, at the end of church, and the pastor with the guy, and they're talking in the hallway, then they go into the pastor's office and close the door. And most pastor's office got a window where you can walk by and you can see in there. You know, so I walk by only to the bathroom. And I look in there and I say, man, I need to be sitting in there with him. You know, that's my thinking. Yeah. But see, when you come into fellowship, when I got to fellowship, we had chips and we were doing clean time. If you got 30 days, you can't wish. Oh, I can't say y'all. I can't say I got a year. You know what I'm saying? You can't I couldn't lie on recovery. I couldn't pick up a year chip and I ain't have but 90 days. So I had to start small. Yeah. That makes sense? That's what worked for me. I had to get on I had to have a program that humbled my ego. That makes sense? You cannot be a year clean and you were just using last week. So it kind of put you where you need to be. This program, I'm grateful for that because it humbled me. It made me be where I needed to be. You can't come in here talking about I'm educated and I got a college degree. How much clean time you got? 30 days. Sit down and shut up. That's what our program is about. You can't pretend in here. Because as soon as you open your mouth, we know how much clean time you got. As soon as you breathe, you ain't got but 20 days. Sit down. You ain't got no year. We know this. So it humbles us. That makes sense? So we can start simpler just by being